Ever since the TV and film industry found out they can make a profit out of nostalgia, we have had dozens of remakes and reboots, and almost every single one of them failed to captivate audiences the way the original series or film did. It just seems most reboots are cash grabs for these companies and do nothing but disappoint and ruin the reputation and quality of the original. So that's why when I heard iCarly was going to have a reboot, I honestly thought it wouldn't be any different than the rest of the bad reboots we have been getting. But damn, was I wrong.
I actually do cuss a little.
Do you?
Also, yeah.
What's your favorite curse word?
Probably fuck.
When it comes to rebooting popular childhood series like iCarly, TV executives make the terrible mistake of keeping these reboots as kids' shows. And what I mean by that is that reboots don't really cater to the very much grown audience and fans of these shows. And executives usually add a kid protagonist to these reboots to cater to a new younger audience. But let's be honest here, the adults who grew up watching the original shows are going to be the main ones watching. Yeah, their kids could be watching it with them, but these reboots are always going to heavily rely on their adult audience and fans to thrive. And keeping it a kids show is just not going to allow the reboot to grow with its audience. The reboot won't be able to take on adult themes or tackle adult issues, aside from the characters struggling to be parents, and I'm sure that's really relatable. I wouldn't know because I don't have any kids, but I just want to see my favorite childhood characters be something other than a parent. And for some reason, TV executives don't understand that. Raven's Home is a good example of what I'm talking about. I hope I don't sound too mean, but I really don't care about Raven's kid or his visions. If I'm going to watch a reboot about That's So Raven, I only want Raven and the original cast. Well, maybe not Eddie or Corey, and the occasional new characters reboots have, but that's it. I'm sorry, I really don't care for her kids. And don't get me wrong, I know Raven's Home is so successful regardless, and it's a pretty solid reboot. I've seen some episodes here and there, but there's just no appeal for me to keep on watching. And I understand Raven's Home was made for Disney Channel, but couldn't they have put it on Hulu or something? Then again, even though we have Disney Plus and Hulu, companies like Disney still put limits on these reboots. The reason why they canceled the Lizzie McGuire reboot was because Disney was too afraid of it being too mature. Even though the kids who grew up watching Lizzie McGuire are grown up, Hilary Duff herself expressed how limiting it would be to keep Lizzie as a kids show. I'd be doing a disservice to everyone by limiting the realities of a 30-year-old's journey to live under the ceiling of a PG rating. Fortunately, the iCarly reboot does not have this problem. It embraces Carly's journey as a late 20-something who doesn't have her life together just yet. And after an embarrassing public breakup, Carly decides to relaunch iCarly again with the help of Freddie. Freddie has been through 2 divorces, a failed startup company, and has moved back in with his mom with his stepdaughter Millicent. And Spencer, man, Spencer's living the life. People have finally appreciated his artwork, and he has money now. Even though the reboot is missing some characters, the show doesn't feel empty or lacking whatsoever like I thought it would be. The addition of new characters like Harper, Carly's roommate, and aspiring stylist perfectly fits right in. Harper is an LGBTQ icon, confident, supportive, and funny, and I could go on forever. I really love Harper. Millicent is also a good addition to the cast. She's ambitious, smart, and bold, and I think her character is a good example how reboots could cater to a younger audience without having to completely change the whole show. Imagine if the iCarly reboot was about Freddie's daughter starting her own web show like iCarly. Or imagine if the iCarly reboot was about Carly and Spencer running a type of hype house for influencers. If you think that second idea is terrible, that's what Nickelodeon pitched to Miranda Cosgrove. And thank God Miranda stepped in and saved the iCarly reboot, because it wouldn't have worked if the show centered around anyone else but Carly. We, the audience, have an attachment to the original characters, and we want to see their new journeys. One of the charms of the reboot is that we get to see how much Carly, Freddie, and Spencer have grown, and continue to grow, and how they navigate through their messy adult lives, how they handle their dating life, their friendships, and their careers. It really speaks to the generation that grew up watching them, and even though the reboot incorporates more mature topics, they never get too raunchy or excessively cussed to show how mature iCarly is now. If the reboot era isn't going anywhere anytime soon, then I at least hope the success of iCarly can help us get better reboots.
Interesting.
The original iCarly was sort of a lens to the early stages of the internet, something we were barely getting to know. So I think there's a slight pressure for the reboot to depict today's internet as accurately as possible, since the original was ahead of its time. But it's safe to say that the reboot does a very good job at it. There's even commentary on the dangers of deepfake technology, online pyramid schemes, cancel culture, YouTuber breakups, public breakups, and the overall internet's references and jokes are clever and funny.
Guys are endgame. Yeah, I'm on TikTok.
The romance in the original iCarly never really interested me. One, because I was a kid, and two, because to me, it always felt forced how the writers wanted Sam and Carly to have a romantic relationship with Freddie. And overall, it was just messy fan service. In the episode I Save Your Life, where Freddie saves Carly from getting run over by a taco truck, and Carly develops a crush on Freddie, and they even date each other. But at the end of the episode, it's revealed that Carly might have only developed feelings for Freddie because he saved her life. They ended up breaking up, and they agreed to get back together if Carly still had feelings for Freddie after the whole hero thing was over. The episode pretty much convinced me that a relationship between Carly and Freddie couldn't work, and that's because Carly never really showed any romantic interest in Freddie at all. It was a one-sided puppy love. So when they announced that Freddie and Carly finally get together in the reboot, I had to see that for myself.
Carly will never love you.
I love you, Freddie Benson.
After Carly's breakup with her long-term boyfriend Beau, romantic tension between Carly and Freddie starts to slowly build up. Even when they're dating someone else, that romantic tension is still there. And you know what? The tension feels believable. It doesn't feel forced at all. They remember small details about each other, they exchange warm loving glances, they're a great team, and they're each other's best support system. The adoration they feel for each other is mutual, and we actually see Carly falling for Freddie.
I am always going to be there for you. I promise.
Did your knees?
Yeah, they did. I buckled.
When they finally get together and confess their love for each other, it's so worth the wait. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm on board with the Creddie ship. I didn't believe in the Creddie, but now I do.
Creddie forever! See? That's on my shirt.
This might sound controversial, but I actually like the reboot way better than the original iCarly. It's just a perfect mix of funny, relatable, and nostalgic. And it has Harper. Of course I'm gonna like it more. And I wasn't expecting much from this reboot, and I never thought I would actually be so invested in it.
The idea of marriage spun me out so bad because what if I do the same thing to Freddie that Mom did to us? Oh my God. Mom?
Like, they didn't have to go this hard. But it has been much more than a pleasant surprise throughout. And I honestly think the iCarly reboot is the best one out there, and it definitely deserves a season 4.
You got a mom?